Hey everyone. All right. Welcome to our second Animal Crossing piano lesson. I'm excited to get started with you today. Remember, last week we worked on the first 13 measures of our Animal Crossing theme song, and I'm excited to learn a little bit more with you today. So, quick review. Well, before we get started, if you don't mind hitting the share button at the bottom corner of your screen, that way you can let everybody know that it's time to learn some Animal Crossing. Okay. Next, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you can keep up with your lessons and learn some more fun songs that I have planned for this summer. Okay. Next, of course, is if you haven't already, go ahead and join the private Facebook group that I have called Encore Music Makers. That way you can get feedback on your practicing and your performing. I get to comment on things and drop a lot of really good tidbits for practicing. And lastly, if you haven't purchased your sheet music for this piece, I highly recommend that you do so. We are playing the Nocturne version of Animal Crossing New Horizons, and it's called Welcome Horizons. You can find it on musicnotes.com, okay? All right, if you need help finding that music, just let me know in the comments, and I will have that ready for you, okay? All right, well, without further ado, let's get started, okay? All right, so I'm looking here at my music, and I see, just as a quick review, we were working on the first 13 measures, right? We were trying to aim for a tempo of quarter note equals 66, okay? If that was too quick for you, that is absolutely fine. We're not in a sprint here. This is a marathon, okay? So we are in the key of F major. I did end up recording a little ditty of it last night, and I was feeling pretty good about it. I think I got, over the course of this past week, about 4 days worth of practice, which is fairly good. Of course, I could always do better, but I think with those 4 days, I did make quite an improvement. So with that, I want to see if I can play through it for you this morning, just the first 13 measures. Okay, so I'm going to find my spot. Now, keep in mind that this is live, and if I do make a mistake, that just shows that I'm just human, that's all. All right? So I am in my spot. Are you in your spot? Okay. So I'm going to start here, and I will begin. I'm going to count off. 1, 2, ready, play. Okay, that wasn't bad. I think I could definitely improve on it. But you know, when you're playing live for an audience, even if it is a virtual audience, that little teeny tiny drop of adrenaline really gets in you, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to make this good, right? That's the nervousness that you're feeling. That's what every single musician and performer gets when they're up on a stage. So now you kind of know what that feels like. I did okay on it. I wouldn't say it was perfect, but it was all right. So moving on from that, since I'm fairly confident with these sections here, I'm going to assign for this upcoming week, we're going to work on measures 14 through 29, okay? So 14 to 29, that's going to be the measure prior to that double bar that you see in measure 14. I'm going to go ahead and draw a little bracket there. and then it's going to go all the way to page 2, the end of the second line, okay, where it says da capo al coda, okay? So let me show you what that looks like in here, okay? So this is where we will begin for this week's practice, this measure right here. And we're going to go all the way until we reach this section right here, the end right there where it says da capo al coda, okay? So those are going to be the lines we're going to work on today, okay? Now, to begin, the first thing I notice is this. Our tempo marking has changed. So this one has it marked at quarter note equals 98. If you recall from the very beginning, we had the tempo marking of quarter note equals 102. Of course, we're not playing it at that tempo yet, but eventually we will work our way up there, okay? So this section is telling me that it's going to be slightly slower than the first part, okay? The second thing I notice is this. It has a fermata over the quarter rest, okay? So that fermata right there is telling us you can take an extended rest at that point to sort of regain a sense of focus for the second section, okay? It starts off with staccato, mezzo forte in our right hand, okay? So because it's a little bit slower, I think I'm going to take it probably just these last 2 lines here on the first page. We're just going to work on that for the right hand, okay? And then we'll move on to the other ones. All right, I'm going to switch to piano view. We're going to start right there, right after that extended fermata on that quarter rest and that half rest, okay? So we're starting here on an A, and I am going to count off 1, 2, 3, ready? Oh, so we're going to count off for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 2, 3. Rest. 1, 2, 3. Hold. Rest. Okay, we're coming on an E major, or no, this is an A major chord. 2, 3. 1, 2, rest. Now this is a really funky chord. It says B sharp, E sharp, G sharp. Okay, so B sharp would be a C, an E sharp would be an F, and a G sharp is just a regular G sharp or an A flat. So we'll play that chord. Ooh, it sounds totally different, right? All right, so moving on from that, we have, and I'm using fingers 1, 2, 3. Okay, play my chord. I go up to A, B natural, and then we do an F sharp minor triad. F sharp, A, C sharp, right? And then E, stretch it, A, D, and A. That's a really tricky section, okay? Let's actually go back to where it makes that A major chord at the beginning of 19, okay? Measure 19. All right, starting right here. Let us begin, all right? 1, 2, ready, play. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, rest. 2, 3. Yeah, how did that go for you? That was really tricky. Let's try this again. Just these 3 measures, okay? Let's count off. 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, rest. 2, 3. How did that go? It is really hard. That part is hard, right? All of those changes with the accidentals and trying to keep the rhythm the way it's supposed to go. It is definitely tricky, but I think we can get this. It's just going to take some work, okay? Let's start again at 19, okay? All right. So I'm starting here with E, A, C sharp, and E, all right? Starting at measure 19, let's count off. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, so I've got some funky fingers going on there with that chord pattern, right? I have that 1, 2, 3. And then from there, obviously I don't have any more fingers. I go up here and I do the F sharp minor triad with a 1, 2, 4. And then pinky E. And then I use 1, 2, 5. Okay? If you need to write those fingers down, you absolutely can, okay? And if those fingers don't work for you, that's okay too. You find the fingers that work for you, all right? Let's start back here at that measure 19, all right? I'm going to count off. 1, 2, ready, play. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, rest. Oops. There we go, yeah. So I was inclined to play that E as part of that final chord there, but it's actually a D. So keep that in mind. It's not the E, it's the D. Okay? Yeah. All right, I'm going to play that once more and then we're going to continue. Okay? Just the right hand. Let's count off. 1, 2, ready, play. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, rest. 2, 3, keep going. Now, I find myself at the top of page 2, the second measure, it's measure 23. I tend to come in a little early from that, so I'm going to have to watch my counting very, very closely on measure 22 and 23, okay? If you find that you're doing a better job with your counting, that's awesome. You're probably a little bit in a better spot than I am at this point in my practice. But I have definitely identified some sections in the right hand that I'm going to practice for drilling for this upcoming week, okay? All right, so let's try that once more let's just start at 14, the right hand section. And we're going to keep going all the way to the end of 29, okay? The entire section that we're learning. A good solid 15 measures, okay? Let's start at 14, okay? Awesome, okay. Hopefully I don't mess up, but if I do, you know, that's how it goes. All right, let's learn this together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3. Rest. 2, 3. Rest. Rest. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There it is. Yeah. Awesome. I'm going to keep going. Oh. Okay, now I want you to notice something. At measure 26, okay, I think when the arranger, Nocturne, was writing this version, I think, this is my opinion, but I think there may have been a bit of a typo. I see a B flat tied as the second note in measure 26 in my right hand. But when I played that chord progression throughout, it happens again in measure 28. When I play that chord progression throughout and I hear the original version of the song, I don't hear a high B flat. I hear an A. So I took it upon myself to go ahead and scratch out that high B flat, and I just wrote an A on top of it. That actually makes the chord progression cleaner, and it makes more sense fingering wise. So if you have the chance to do that, go ahead and do that. Let me show you what I did. Okay, so measure 26 right here. Do you see it? I scratched out the B flat and I wrote an A on top, and it's a tied note, right? And then again, when it comes back here for this B flat, I scratched it out and I wrote an A, okay? So measures 26 and 28. That is going to be changed to an A instead of the high B flat, okay? I will play it once more so that way we can understand that, okay? All right, so I'm going to start at 26, okay? 26, everybody. Listen to just those right hand chords, okay? 1, 2, ready, play. Here we go. Doesn't that make more sense? And to my ear, it makes more sense than playing the B flat. Listen, this is how it is written. That sounds a little bit different. I don't know. Having a fifth in there randomly just doesn't resolve itself in my ear. So if the arranger wants the high B flat, then that's cool. But in my ear, I'm changing it. So we're going to change it to a high A instead, okay? All right. Well, that was the right hand section, right? So we did measures 14 through 29, the right hand. Now let's see if we can do the left hand, okay? All right, so switching gears here, we're going back all the way to 14, and looks like we're going to be doing some really interesting octave jumping, okay? Now, there are some really crazy accidentals in this part too, so don't be afraid if you happen to get it wrong. We just have to try it again and see if we can get it correct, okay? All right, let's switch to piano view. And I'm starting here, it looks like on a bass clef C, okay? And then I'm going down, stretching all the way down a 10th to a low, low A. And I'm gonna do this crossover, 5, 1, 3, right? Do you see that? So I'm gonna start right there, okay? Let's count off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. C. C sharp now. I like that chord progression at the end there, right? It goes from a G to an A to a B flat. Yeah. I wonder if you noticed the low E that I've got down here is a really weird string, so it sounds funny, but because of our current restrictions with the virus, I can't get my piano tuner out here to help fix that, right? So, but that's okay. I mean, it happens. I might just end up playing this E, bass clef E twice instead. All right, so I'm going to play that left-hand section once more, starting at 14. It'll be the pickup to 15, okay? All right, starting here with the C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. C sharp. Oh, yeah, it is a G sharp. Rest, C, 1, 2, 3, down an octave, 2, 3, yeah, okay, so it does get hairy down at that same part that we had for the right hand, wasn't it? At the bottom of page 1, we have measures 19, measures 20, and measures 21. Those 3 measures, that's the hardest part of this whole section, right? Getting the rhythm right, getting the accidentals right. We have a lot of sharps going on down here, right? So your best bet is to extract that section, okay? Work on the right hand religiously, right? You've got 4 or 5 times that you can drill through that section at a nice slow tempo, while also, when you're finished with that, doing the left hand in the same manner, right? You extract that section, you play it to the rhythm that you're choosing, and play it super slowly, right? When you get the syncopation just right for the right hand and then the left hand, try to put it together. But keep in mind, this is not going to be an issue of speed at this point in your learning. This is an issue of accuracy. You want to make sure that you get the notes right to start, and the syncopation right. You have to get the rhythm right. Because if you don't, it's going to sound different from the original song, okay? We can always bump up the tempo later, okay? All right. I think with that, let's probably play that left-hand section once more, okay? And then we're going to work on a focused section of measures 26 to 29, okay? All right, starting at 14 once more, okay? Let's switch to piano, and we are going to do left hand only, okay, friends? All right, I'm starting here with my low C. All right, let's count off. 1, 2, ready, play. 1, 2, rest. 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 2, 3. Okay, how did that go? I noticed that the bottom at measure 20, I cut a G sharp short. So I'm gonna circle it. If you cut the same one short, it would be measure 18, 19, 20. Measure 20, the very first G sharp you see in your left hand in the bass clef, that one. That was the one that I cut short by half a beat, and it threw off the rest of the measure. So you've got to make sure that all the counting and syncopation is right, okay? All right. Wonderful. Well, now I want to spend a little bit of time doing some focus practice on measures 26 to 29. This is that really pretty section that's sort of like an interlude between the second verse and the da capo al coda. The da capo means going back to the beginning, or the cap, right? You know, when like conductors are telling orchestras or something, they're like, from the top, right? That's da capo, right? That's going back to the beginning, the top, the cap, right? Okay. So let's start at 26 and let's build these chords. We're going to do these hands together though, okay? Because I think we can do it, okay? All right, so the very first chord here, remember for our right hand, we're playing F and A, right? And then we have our left hand that has shifted up into the treble staff. So we're reading it as a treble staff, and that just looks like an F major chord to me, okay? So let's play that first one. Sounds nice, right? Yeah. The next one, it looks like we are going to be keeping the high A, and we're going to be going down one whole step with your right hand finger too, down to an E flat. Okay? There's that one. Now the left hand is going to be doing something similar. We're going to be going the pinky left hand down to an E flat. There's that sound, right? Let's go back to the original chord. Down. Very good. Let's switch to piano view so you can see that, okay? So there's my chord. In my right hand, I have my F and A. And there's my left hand in the treble staff F major chord. Let's play that together. Going down a whole step with that bottom note, both hands. You see that? E flat, A, C, E flat, A. Right, so let's go back to the original F major. There it is, right? Try it once more. Very good. Now from here, we travel down again, okay? Now this time it's going to be both fingers in your right hand are going to be changing. We're going to be going down a whole step for your upper note from an A to a G, and then down a half step for your right hand finger 1, the bottom note. It's going to go down to a D, right? So there's our next chord. Now the left hand, we're going from here, and then we need to go down to get to our next chord. So your left hand thumb is going to go from a C to a B flat. Your left hand finger 2 from A is going to go down a whole step to G. And your finger 5 pinky on E flat is going to go down a whole step to D. So this is our new chord. Do you hear it? Yeah, that's a tricky chord, but it sounds really cool, right? So going down from our previous chord, let's find that. Oops, no, that's not it. See? There it is. That was the one from before. Now this is the next chord. Very good. Okay, so starting at measure 27, let's play that chord and then let's learn the next one. And notice the right hand note, it's just a single G. And the left hand is actually fairly simple for this one. We're having to play our D, but we're going to go down 1/2 step to a D flat. You hear that? Yeah, so let's play that progression again at measure 27. Not bad, huh? Try it once more. Very good. All right. Now measure 28 is exactly like measure 26, and we've already learned that one, so let's hear it. Back to the F major chord. Very good. Let's play that once more. Measure 28. Very good. Now, the next chord in measure 29 is a similar chord, right, to measure 27. It's going to go down 1 whole step for your right hand to the G, single note. The left hand chord is the one that we had at measure 27 as well. It's the D, G, B flat. So you'll play that, but just a single note in the right hand. Good. And then the final chord is this. You have an E natural in your right hand and the B flat up at the very top. I'm using a finger 4. Now the left hand chord is one of our favorites. It is a C triad with a 7 on top. So that's a B flat. Awesome. Right, so there it goes. Very cool. Let's play just measure 29, the chord progression, okay? So I'm back in my regular spot. I have my G in my right hand single note and that D, G, B flat in my left hand. And then stretch it to the 7. Yeah, not bad, guys. Very good. All right, so those chords are going to be really important in the transition between the second section and the da capo, going back to the beginning and playing the theme again, right? The theme that everybody knows. So that is that lovely line there. I like to call it an interlude, right? Notice something cool about that interlude though. I like how all of the chords are right there under your hand. So you just have to be mindful of if it's a whole step or a half step going between those sections, okay? Yeah, I'm really liking this section quite a bit. I haven't tried to play it hands together yet, but to cap off this lesson, let's just try it. I mean, I'll give it a try. I'm not making any promises because I've got to practice it, but I can certainly try. Okay, so let me go ahead and do that. All right, so I'm going to count off. Let's just see what happens. I did it last time. Let's try it again, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back because that was kind of hard. I definitely messed up a little bit, but that is a-okay, right? This is my first time playing that section hands together, right? Now, the way you're gonna structure your practice is keep it hands apart, right? Keep it hands apart probably for the first half of this week's practice. When you're feeling confident about it, then try to put small sections of it together, okay? We're gonna probably give ourselves the entire week to really, really get it solid, okay? If you need to drill certain sections, definitely do that, okay? I know I'm gonna be drilling measures 19 to 22 because that's the part that I was having the most trouble with, okay? So yeah, that's what we're gonna do for this week, okay? Do your best, try to get some time at the piano. If you can't practice every day, see if you can practice 4 days a week. I call that my Encore 4, okay? 4 days of solid practice will definitely make a difference, okay? All right. Quick reminder, I am accepting tips. If you find these lessons helpful in your piano instruction and in learning something new and fun, I am accepting PayPal. My email is encoremusichtx@gmail.com. My Venmo is Izzy Chia, and my Cash App is IZZI3CH3A. Thanks for letting me say that. Also, yeah, I like to end every piano lesson, and yeah, every single piano lesson with a music quote, okay? So today's music quote comes from Arthur Schopenhauer, and he says, "Music is the food of soul." I think that's very obvious. Music hits us like inside all of the time, right? It hits us right in the soul. And it helps us express how we feel without having to say anything. So that's pretty cool. I liked that quote. All right. I hope you enjoyed today's second lesson in our Animal Crossing piano lesson. If you find it in your heart to share this video, please do. And don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys next week, okay? Take care.